All right, let's cut right to it. Your business is not some living organism by accident. It can be, and it should be, an engineered system, one designed for a single primary function, replication.
Right now, you're probably spending your days hunting, chasing, and grinding for that next client. But here's the thing. You have an entire army of potential recruiters, your existing clients, just sitting there, completely untapped. They are your most credible, most effective sales force, and they're doing absolutely nothing.
And let's be crystal clear about this. This is not a marketing problem. It's not about running better ads or having some slicker social media page. No. This is a fundamental flaw in the very architecture of your business. It is a system design failure.
What we're really talking about today is the blueprint itself. See, most businesses are built to deliver a service and then just stop. The transaction ends, the value is exchanged, and the growth engine stalls until you have to manually get in there and restart it. That is the failure.
A correctly designed business doesn't just serve clients, it converts them. It turns them into active advocates who go out and replicate the business for you. It's a system that should be running while you sleep. And today, I'm giving you the architecture to build it.
Okay, so let's dive in. And the first thing we have to do is demolish the flawed beliefs that keep most businesses trapped in the grind. We have to tear down the old framework before we can build the new one. And it starts with 3 core lies you've been told about growth.
The first and most dangerous lie is that great service is enough. This belief confuses 2 completely different outcomes. On one side, you have passive satisfaction. Sure, your client is happy, but they're silent. The transaction is over. On the other side, you have active advocacy. This client isn't just happy, they are now a recruiter for your business. You have to understand, satisfaction does not equal advocacy.
So the crucial point here is that advocacy isn't an accident. It has an architecture. It's built on a foundation of trust, of course, but it's activated by what the marketing expert Rajagopal calls social empowerment. You have to engage your clients in a process of co-creation. Think of Lego. They don't just sell bricks. They've built these huge forums and platforms where their customers co-create new designs. They effectively become an extension of their R&D and marketing teams. That's the difference between a passive buyer and an active advocate.
Now, the second lie, this is the idea that you should just ask for referrals. This is not a strategy. This is a strategy of hope, and it is weak. It positions you as a beggar, not as a commander of your own growth.
Let's just call this what it is. It's unsystematic begging. It communicates desperation, and it destroys the value in the relationship. The alternative is not to ask randomly, but to engineer natural triggers right inside your delivery system. Triggers that prompt the referral without you ever having to beg for it.
And the final myth is this strange, almost noble-sounding idea that offering incentives for referrals is somehow crass or undignified. Let me tell you, that belief will keep you poor while your competition, who actually understands value exchange, thrives.
Let's get ruthlessly practical. The legendary car salesman Joe Girard sold over 13,000 cars, one by one. He built his empire on referrals. He called his referrers bird dogs, and he discovered a hard number, $50. That was the minimum incentive it took to activate someone to actively hunt for business on his behalf. It's not an insult, it's fuel.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the real principle at play here. As the research in The Millionaire Next Door confirms, successful people believe in reciprocity. This isn't about some crass payment. It's a professional exchange of value. You provided value to them, they provide value back to you, and you acknowledge that value with a tangible reward. It is a system of mutual respect.
All right, with those flawed beliefs demolished, it's time to build. Let's construct the machine itself, the replication architecture.
This system is built on a 3-layer stack. It's simple, it's elegant, and it is brutally effective. First, the memorable moment. Second, the natural trigger. And third, the worth-sharing outcome.
The foundation is the memorable moment. Now, this is not about good service. This is about creating an experience of such disproportionate value that it becomes a story. It has to be remarkable. I mean that in the literal sense of the word, worthy of remark. This moment is the fuel for the entire system.
But a story is completely useless if it's never told. And that brings us to the second layer, the natural trigger. This is the engineered mechanism that's designed to launch the story. You have to design systematic touchpoints into your client journey that make the act of referring a natural next step. You're creating the conditions where the referral becomes the obvious, logical conclusion.
So what does this look like in practice? Well, it could be the automated email segmentation from the invisible selling machine, which asks engaged customers to raise their hand for a chance to share. It could be Joe Girard's formal bird dog network, complete with that $50 payment. Or it could even be a customer co-creation form, turning your clients into partners. Each one is a system, not a random act.
And when that memorable moment is launched by a natural trigger, you achieve the final layer, the worth-sharing outcome. Your client success, powered by your service, becomes your #1 marketing asset. You are no longer just a service provider. You are the architect of an ecosystem where your client success stories become the fuel for your continued growth. But theory is nothing without proof. So does this architecture actually work in the real world? Well, let's examine the hard data from the man who perfected this system long before the internet even existed.
Take a look at these numbers. For the world's greatest salesman, 60%, the majority of all his business came from just 2 sources: repeat customers and referrals from his bird dog army. He spent less time hunting for new customers because his system was constantly bringing them to him.
And here it is in his own words. The entire system in one sentence. It's not about a single transaction. It's about sending an activated advocate out into the world who becomes a kind of perpetual motion machine for your business.
So, we've broken down the myths and we've outlined the architecture. Now it's time to make this real for you. Here is your mission.
This week, I want you to conduct an audit. Take one single client journey, from the first contact to the final delivery, and map it out. Your objective is to find one point, just one, where you can inject a moment of such disproportionate value, such unexpected excellence, that for your client, not to tell someone about it would feel like they were keeping a secret. Find that point, engineer that moment, and you will have laid the first stone in the foundation of your self-replicating system.